Hello, Wayne Township Preschool families. Welcome to this month, it's November's Family Night. We are so glad you can join us this evening. The activities in this video are based on literacy concepts and standards that are aligned with the Indiana Early Learning Foundations. We hope you enjoy watching and learning how you can do these simple activities at home with your child. So tonight, the first thing we're going to talk about is literacy at home and reading to your child. So I'm going to read a book today called Caps for Sale. And while I'm reading it, I'm going to give you some ideas of what you can do when you're reading books to your own children at home. Okay? So one of the things that you can do is literally, like I did before, have the book upside down, show them the back, and say, hey, I'm going to start reading this book. Is this where I start? So that they can understand that, you know what, there is a front to every book and then there is a back to every book. And we have to start with the front, okay? So the first one, or the first book that I'm going to read is called Caps for Sale. And this is a really old book, but it's a classic and it's a great story and children love to read it. And that's the key to reading books to children is it has to catch their attention. And when it has different repetitive parts to it, I'll show you, that really keeps their attention too, and they can get involved in the book. And so the more you can do those types of books, the better for younger children. So the first thing that you want to do is see if they can find the front, and then you're going to read the title. And you can always point to the words. You don't have to point to all the words, but just so that they understand, when you point to them and you're going to say, oh, this book is called Caps for Sale. And then, you're pointing out the print, and that helps them when they go to be their own readers. All right, and so what I might say is caps for sale. What's a cap? So you're introducing new vocabulary because we normally say hats. We wear your hat. We don't typically say caps, but in this time when they wrote this book, that's what they called them, caps. So it's another name for hat. And so he's selling them. Now, why do you think that man is sitting in the tree? And so you might just talk about what do you see on the front? What, like we call that a picture walk. And so you might just look on the front and say, well, this looks like a good book. He's sitting in a tree and it looks like he's sleeping. So then when you're reading it, you want to make sure that your child, and it's going to be hard because I have to turn it to the video, but you want to make sure that when you're sitting with them or when you've got them on your lap or whatever, see that they can see the pictures when you're reading it, okay? And you can follow along with your finger if you want to. You don't have to, but you might want to follow along just so that they see that you're reading. So once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. Now, do you know what a peddler is? We don't see very many peddlers now, but a long, long time ago, and sometimes people would sell things just out on the street. They would just walk from house to house and sell things. So he was selling his caps, and look at all those caps. He wore them on his head. So he walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight so as not to upset his caps. And as he went along, he called, caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap. First he had on his own check cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a bunch of red caps. Now, when you're reading this, that would be what we would ask for a comprehension question. So when I said that, and on the very top, a bunch of, and see if they can remember what color goes on the top. And that's what good readers do, is they remember details as they're reading along. So you just want to make sure that you're asking questions. Not on every page. Don't do it on every page because that'll really make the book long. But just every once in a while, ask a question. What did they say? What is he wearing on top of his head? So one morning he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street calling, caps, Caps for sale, 50 cents a cap. But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody wanted even a red cap. So he began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. I think I'll go for a walk in the country, said he, and he walked out of town slowly, slowly, so as not to upset his caps. So you might ask him, why is he walking so slow? And see if they can understand that he doesn't want to drop his caps. So he walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. This is a nice place for a rest, thought he, and he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back against the tree trunk so that he wouldn't disturb his caps. And then he put up his hand to feel if they were straight. What was first? Do you remember what was first? Those are some questions you might ask him. First his own check cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. And they were all there, so he went to sleep. And he slept for a long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. And if you see the picture, see he only has one cap on his head. And you might, if you don't, you don't say anything, but you might give a clue to your child. Say, wow, what do you think? What do you see? And see if they can realize that his caps are gone. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. But all he felt was his own check cap. So he looked to the right of him. And this is where you use those vocabulary words. Where's the right of you? Where's your right hand? So we look that way. He looked to the left of him. Here's your left hand. Look that way. He looked in back of him. Look behind you. He looked behind the tree. No caps. No caps anywhere. Then he looked up into the tree. And what do you think he saw? And this they actually have a question. And what do you think he saw? So you could ask your child, that's when you ask him, what do you think he saw? And you might lead him into something, but you don't have to give him away the answer. On every branch sat a monkey. And on every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. So you can see all the monkeys with their caps. And the kids will love that. They'll think that's funny. So the peddler looked at the monkeys, and the monkeys looked at the peddler, and he didn't know what to do. And finally he spoke to them. Now, this is where you say to your child, do monkeys talk? How's he going to talk to monkeys? Well, you monkeys, you, he said, shaking a finger at them. You give me back my caps. But the monkeys only shook their finger back at him and said, tss, 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 tss. How come they didn't talk back? So those are the questions that you ask while you're reading it. So this made the peddler angry, so he shook both hands at them. You monkeys, you give me back my caps. But the monkeys only shook their hands back at him and said, tss, 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 tss. They did the same thing. Now he felt quite angry. And then you might ask him, why is he angry? Why is he stomping his foot? So he stomped his feet and he said, you monkeys, you better give me back my caps. But the monkeys only stamped one foot at him and said, tss, 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 tss. By this time the peddler was very, very angry, and he stamped both his feet, and he shouted, you monkeys, you give me back my caps. But the monkeys only, what did they do? See if your child can get it. They only stamped both their feet back at him and said, tss, 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 tss. Well, at last he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap and he threw it on the ground and he began to walk away. But then each monkey pulled off his cap, and all the gray caps and all the brown caps and all the blue caps and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. Now, why do you think they all came down out of the tree? Hopefully your child will get it. So the peddler picked up his caps and he put them back on his head. First his own check cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, and then the red caps on the very top. And slowly, slowly, he walked back to town calling caps. Caps for sale, 50 cents a cap. The end. So, as you're reading a story, you might just ask those simple questions as the story goes along to see if they understand parts of it, okay? All right, I hope Miss Angie's coming up and she's going to be talking about some other literacy activities that you can do at home with your child. Have a great night.
Hello, I am Miss Angie, a community preschool teacher at WTP. I am here to share with you some practical ideas and activities that you could do at home with your child to promote language and literacy. Like Miss Lisa said, reading is very important, and you can never read a book too many times. Each time your child reads a book again and again, they learn something new or discover something new, or it also helps to build and gain their knowledge. And once they're actually reading, it helps build their fluency. So, some things that you can do just to make reading fun and make it an adventure. You could read in fun places like outside, inside, in the car, in the bathtub, in the bed, on the couch, under the covers, under a tree, at the library, in a tent, or in the park. You could read in fun ways. You could use a flashlight. You could use different voices. You could read on the computer, act it out. You can read by singing the words. You could whisper. You could read to a stuffed animal. You could read to a pet or with props and the puppets. There's all kinds of different books out there that you could read. You could read ABC books, counting, fiction, nonfiction, big, small, short, long, rhyming, poetry, song, fairy tales. You could read about different things, families, friends, feelings, schools, holidays, sports. Um, there's lots of different media that you can read, and that's an important thing, is to make sure your children see you read in front of them. They could see you reading a book, a newspaper, a magazine, ebooks, letters, shopping lists, cards, mail, store ads, signs, recipes, comics, all kinds of different things that they can see you read out there. But it's important for them to see you read, and for them, it's important for them to see you write also. So you could have them help you write grocery lists, to-do lists. You could have them scribble out the list if that's what they can do, or you could have them, if they know their letters, you could tell them a letter, or you could tell them to sound out the words. So bananas, what do you think that starts with? Have them write the first letter of the word bananas, or you could give them the sale ad and have them look for for something that they, say they want some grapes. So they could look for the grapes and find the grapes start with the G. Or you could give them the sale ad with a highlighter and have them highlight the different letters. Say, find all the A. Angie, my name starts with A, so find all the A's. Or have them find the letters in their name when they're searching those. You could have them write letters through mail or email. You could even have them write email to their teacher just to work on those letter recognition, on finding the letters, naming the letters, or if they could write out the letter, write a letter, and you could then ask them what they wrote, and you could write it on a post-it or write it on right there and send it into your child's teacher. Um, when you're cooking, you can have them look at the box and you can say, "Oh, what letter is this?" Or that this starts with the pa 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 sound. What letter do you think that is? Or have them look through and circle all the E's on the box, or different things like that when you're cooking, or when they're out with cereal for my kids' breakfast. So they're eating breakfast. They can look at the boxes. Let's see. You could do a letter hunt around the house. So you could create your own form. I just took the letters that are in my kids' names, because you want to start with the letters that are in their names, because that's the most important letters to them. So my daughter's name starts with a K. So there's the K. And I would say, go see if you can find these letters in the house. Or when you're in the car driving somewhere, you could take this form with them and have them search it. In my class, we have a couple kids that enjoy it, and we go out in the building and look for the letters, or as we're walking to the gym, we'll look for the letters. So as you're driving down the road, you can have a look for the letters that are important to them to start with, and then you can always do the full alphabet. Or you, if they know their uppercase, then do some lowercase letters. If they know their uppercase and lowercase, then you can have them do sounds. So just work on, that's an option you could do. You could use a cookie sheet at home with some salt on it, and you can have them write in the salt a letter. So say you want to tell them to write the letter I. So they could write the I in the salt. You could do it in a paper plate or on a regular plate too. You want to make the S. What's for you guys? But have them make letters in the salt. You could do the same thing with shaving cream on the bathtub. You could have them write different letters, or that you could say, I'm thinking of a letter that starts with the sound that makes this sound, and they could come up with what they want, or what it is. Um, let's see, you can do flashlight reading. So when you're reading, you could use a flashlight and have them look for all the letters, whatever letter is important to them, or for short little words. If they know all their letters, you could do the short little words. Uh, you could use the sale ads, like I said, or junk mail. If you have any junk mail that comes, you could have them circle the letters that are in the mail. You can, some other ways to encourage the writing is have them create, right now they can make a wish list of things they want or things they want to do. Have them write a letter to someone special, create a book about a memory. You could have them make a book. Just take a couple pieces of paper, fold them together, and there is a book. You can have them make a menu for dinner of what you're going to have for dinner. They could write and they could draw what is for dinner. But basically, you want to take and use your natural opportunities throughout the day to help support their language and literacy development. So, like I said, as you're cooking dinner, as you're walking down the street, or as you're driving, those are those times to make it fun and enjoyable for the children, but not force them. And also use what your child knows and push them to the next level. If you have any specific questions, um, please don't hesitate to reach out to your child's teacher, and they can help you come up with some ideas in addition to, or how to modify some of these ideas. We appreciate you watching, and thank you for taking your time for watching, and we hope you are able to do some of these activities with your child and to help promote their language and literacy learning. Have a great night. Thank you.